Brian Gulligan, the bassist for the Sheepdogs, based in Saskatchewan, but of course loved all over Canada. You guys have been touring forever, putting in the grind. You've been together for 7 years. Does it feel that long?
I would say so. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's been like a horrible run. I mean, at this point, it feels like it's all kind of paid off in some ways, but it definitely is a very long time. When I think back to things that I've done in my life and think about being in the band, it makes it seem longer than at this point. It's kind of exciting because we're actually going to do all the things we were working hard to get to, I guess.
And a lot of people, I mean, they're not completely aware of your history and a band that has really started together, a couple of you in high school and working your way through the dirtiest of the clubs and having no money and all the rest of it. Definitely not an overnight success, especially now with the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, which is sort of the biggest accolade you could have when it comes to rock and roll. Do you think you guys appreciate it more because you've put in so much time?
Well, absolutely, and I think it also means that you can take advantage of it more so than a band that hasn't. You know, we're established in this fact that we know who we are, we know our sound, we've toured, we've played shows, so now we can put in these situations where we got to play, bigger shows, or we got to really dial it in when we have to really give it. But we've had a lot of time and a lot of practice doing that, so I think it allowed us more time to take advantage of it. But also, I think we feel accomplished by it. It doesn't feel like an overnight success, which I would never want to be.
No, because then you'll have more longevity. And it's great to have a rock and roll band out there who really plays their instruments, who writes the music themselves. You can tell that you guys feel it when you're on stage. Footage from Bonnaroo, unbelievable. You guys are just loving being there.
Oh, it was amazing. That was one of the best weekends I've ever had.
On top of that, you got to meet Crosby and Nash. How cool is that?
That was very cool. I mean, that was obviously we've had recently had a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of people that we really respect, and that was definitely probably the number one. That was very cool.
And on top of that as well, when you were back in Rolling Stone, you got some sort of tips from Kid Rock, who compared you guys to the Guess Who and Bad Company. Now, how would you describe your music?
I guess the best way to describe it, it's kind of like, maybe all just listen to old music. It's kind of just a collection of different ideas and stuff that comes. It's not really a specific group that we necessarily try to emulate. It's more so just kind of a collection of older, the elements of older music that we appreciate. We always talk about melody and groove and harmony and just people singing together and kind of that good time rock and roll that doesn't really, for the most part, exist anymore.
Now, I've heard people put you under the umbrella of sort of southern rock with a swagger. When I listen to your music, it just makes me happy. It just makes me happy to listen to it. And obviously, we don't want anybody to pigeonhole you guys because you are so artistic. You've put out lots of albums already. And Learn and Burn is out as well, which you're promoting and touring. You're on tour with Kings of Leon. And do you think it represents you the best, or do you think there are tunes from other albums that sort of encompass how you were feeling then?
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is our third full. That is our third full-length album, and I think we feel it's probably our best to date. I mean, obviously, other albums do represent us in different times of our life, but when we recorded this album, we recorded it all by ourselves, and we had a lot of time to kind of play around with different ideas, and as a result, I think it kind of encapsulates us as a band, in the most natural setting, because we're not in a studio. We were just in a house and just recording ourselves and figuring things out.
Because you recorded it really with just 2 mics in your own home. Do you think now when you go into the studio with Atlantic Records, do you think you're sort of going to take that same mentality to trying to take your time and trying to keep it playing it live? Or do you think because now you're with a label, things will sort of shift for you?
Well, I think our plan right now, we're planning to record in January, and the plan right now is to spend about the entire month of January actually recording ourselves. I mean, we will go into a studio and do the album in the studio, but I think the plan is to kind of use the same sort of kind of way of going about things this time around, because we were so successful in that. I mean, that album probably won't come out necessarily like how we recorded it. We want to just have that time before we get in as a producer and get in with an engineer, and then we can just really flush out the ideas, because we've been basically touring all year, so we haven't had a whole lot of time really figure out some of that kind of stuff.
What drives you? What keeps you going? I mean, getting the cover of the Rolling Stone, that was sort of a goal to get to, although you didn't even know that your demo was even thrown in. That was by a fan who happens to be now your manager, right? That kind of worked out well for him.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, he's also manages a whole bunch of other successful Canadian bands. He was kind of like almost like a blind date kind of thing set up with a guy from a radio station that really wanted us to meet each other. So, but it worked out really well. Yeah, obviously, like he knew people at Atlantic Records that he's dealt with in the past, so he sent them our album, and they got excited about it, and that's kind of how it all came about.
So what drives you now? What keeps you going now that you've sort of reached one pinnacle of your career?
Well, I mean, I think that's the very small part. I think our biggest goal is always just going to be to get music out, put out music and tour and just put on shows, but just spread our music to those people.
Everyone has a fantastic time when they go see your shows, but what do you want people to take away? What do you want people to remember the most when they go and they see the Sheepdogs?
I think there's not enough bands nowadays that really put a lot of effort into making the shows good necessarily. I mean, not to say like they don't have like, lights and whatever, but they're just like want people to say like, wow, that band's really well rehearsed and they sing well, sing together, and they play well, and it was an entertaining show and had a good time. I think that's probably the biggest thing we want people to take away.
And we can definitely tell that not just you, but everybody on the stage absolutely loves to perform. Where does your love of performing come from?
I think it just comes from really enjoying, the music we're playing and enjoying like the feedback that you get from people while you play that. I mean, that's really, nothing's greater than when you see people singing along and like really enjoying themselves. And it's kind of like a back and forth. Energy-wise, I think that's probably what makes me the most excited on stage.
And this is sort of a question I'm always really, really curious. What kind of records did your parents listen to when you were growing up?
I mean, a lot of the same stuff that we listen to now. I mean, just like old Beatles and Stones and things like that. I mean, there's quite a variety. I mean, both Ewan and Sam's parents are very musical as well, and Ewan and Sam's dads are both composers and musicians, so they got a lot of it very honestly as well.
And where's your favorite place to write?
I think just in the basement where we rehearse is probably the best place.
Where you just chill out and relax, there's not as much pressure on you?
Yeah, just everyone just hanging out and playing together is pretty much, without anything else going on, we could just hang out, and if we needed to stop and hang out and, take a break, that's cool too. And
what's the best advantage of being the bassist?
I don't really know. I don't know what the best advantage is. I get to do interviews on DAWG FM.
That is the best answer you could have possibly given me.
Yeah, there you go.
That is fantastic. Well, thank you so very much for doing this with us, Ryan. I had an absolute blast. We look forward to picking up your album, Learn and Burn, and of course, all the other ones that you've put out, which are really just masterpieces. You've taken your time. It's real music with real instruments and music, like Trying to Grow in 06, and then the Sheepdogs' Big Stand in 08, and Learn and Burn, of course, in 2010. You're also going to be playing at CD Warehouse. It's sort of an intimate show, Saturday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Going to sort of sign autographs and all the rest of that?
Oh, absolutely. That's what we're going to do. We just want to come and do something. I mean, these Kings of Leon shows are such a big scale, and we don't really have the opportunity to like go and hang out with people afterwards for the most part. So we would much rather do something that's more intimate. I mean, just go hang out. So we're just like friendly guys from Saskatchewan. So we like still doing that stuff. These things are a little crazy at these Kings of Leon shows. That's why we wanted to do something like that. Plus, I've heard it's a very cool record store, so those are kind of places we like to hang out.
It's a very cool record store. Now, shall we tell the ladies that anybody in the band is single, just in case, do you have some extra time between your...
All but one.
All but one.
Just the drummer is spoken for. So.
Wow, that is really good odds.
Yeah, decent odds. Yeah, there's a 3 out of 4 chance, or I don't even know what the odds would be on that. I'm a little too early in the morning.
Well, I will make sure the ladies of Ottawa know that the Sheepdogs are at CD Warehouse on Saturday and to wear their best outfits, because you never know what's going to happen. And, of course, you're playing with Kings of Leon that night at Scotiabank Place. We were all looking so forward to it. We'll be cheering you on as loud as we possibly can. We hope you come back to Ottawa very soon, and I wish you the utmost success. I think you are a fantastic guy. I think your band is fantastic, and I very much respect everything you do for touring as long as you have and for sticking true to your roots and not changing the way you play.
Well, thank you so much. I was really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk about this, too.
Not a problem. You enjoy the rest of your day, okay?
You too. Thanks a lot.
Bye, Ryan.
Bye.